lovelies, welcome to another time of learning. I hope you enjoyed the last class. Now today our learning targets are: I can practice my new spelling words, I can read tricky words, I can identify the different parts of the writing process. Tricky words. Now you know that tricky words are words that do not play by the rules. And some of the examples of these tricky words are: because, tomorrow, dear, well, could, word, yesterday. It is clearly on your screen. Now, all year long, we are going to learn tricky words. Tricky words are words that do not play by the rules. Today, we will learn 3 tricky words. Now, number 1 tricky word that we're going to be looking at is are. Everybody say are. Now, let's use are in a sentence. It says, you are doing a great job. You are doing a great job. Now, say where we were exercising in PE. Some get some sleep tonight. Some. Now, let's look at our wiggle cat. Now, I'll say a phrase and you will perform what I have said. Now make a cute face, smaller rose, poke a hole, raisin in place, taste a homemade cake, wave a flag, hopping up and down, play trombone. Now, fictional narrative planning. We are going to be working on the writing project. Now, when we write, we go through different steps. This is called the writing process. Now, let's look at the writing process. Now, the first one on the process is plan. The second is draft. The third is edit. And the last is writing. Now, let's look at writing. Much like your spelling words this week, write is the root word of writing. Now, the writing process. Now, even authors of your favorite books use steps like this when they wrote their books. You will use this chart whenever we have writing lessons. Now, let's take a look at our writing process chart. What is the first step in the writing process? What do you think it means? Now, you can see our writing process. You plan, you draft, you edit, then finally, you publish. Now, the first step in the writing process is, this is what you do before you write. You have to plan, because you have to plan, make a plan of what you want to write. This is the first step in the writing process. Now, today, we will be working on the first step in the writing process, which is plan. Before you begin writing, you have to think about the topic you are writing about and brainstorm ideas. Now, the second step in the writing process is draft. Everybody say draft. This is when we write. This is when you write what you've planned. Now, drafting is when we write our ideas down on paper. Our ideas down on paper. Now, the third step in the writing process is edit. This is where we reread and fix any mistakes. Now, let's review the steps again. The writing process, we have plan, draft, edit, and publish. Now, the unit reader includes many stories in our bedtime tales. And some of the stories we have seen is like the jumping frog, the frog race, and the milk. Now, let's review the elements of a story. The title, the name of the story, the characters, the people or animals in the story. What about the setting where the story takes place? It can take place anywhere. Now, the plot, the problem, and the events in the story. What happened in the story? Now, today we will use our planning template to retell the story, The Milk. Now, I will reread The Milk aloud. Pay special attention to the title, the characters, the setting, and beginning, middle, and the end of the plot. Let's complete each section of the template together as a class. Now, the characters. Jane has dreams, has big plans. So Jane is one of the characters in the milk. Now let's look at the setting. Now, number 1, long time ago. 2, outside. 3, farm and road. These are the setting where the story took place. Now let's look at the beginning. We have Jane puts milk in a bucket to sell. Jane puts milk in a bucket to sell. Now we have the middle. Jane makes lots of plans to use the cash from selling the milk. The end. It says Jane spills the milk and doesn't get any cash. Now, don't spend your money before you get it. Don't spend your money before you get it. Now, we have a spelling list each week. You should practice at home each night for the assessment on Friday. The spelling words only use the spellings you know. This week, the words we use the suffix ing. Now, there will also be one tricky word. Remember, tricky words are words that do not follow the rules, so their spellings must be what? Memorized. Now, let's review each spelling word one at a time. First, we'll read the words without the suffixing. Then, we will add the suffix ing to practice the spelling word. Now, let's look at the word smile. Everybody say smile. Smiling. Race. Racing. Hope. Hoping. Bake. Baking. Invite. Inviting. Confuse. Confusing. Confuse. Confusing. Taste. Tasting. Compete. Competing. Hop. Hopping. Where. Now, tricky word where. Everybody say tricky word where. Now, let's take a look at the family letter that you will bring home today. This letter will explain activities you can do to practice your spelling words at home. Now, our learning targets are: I can practice my new spelling words, I can read tricky words, I can identify the different parts of the writing process. Now, words: home, rose, backbone, flagpole, trombone, homemade, cold, bathrobe. Now let's look at some phrases and sentences. Phrases and sentences. A cute nose, a red rose, have fun, pots on the stove, maps and globes, close but not quite, a mole in a hole, a king on a throne. Now, thank you for listening to our teaching for today, and I hope to see you next time, my wonderful champions. Bye for now.